The countdown is on because there are only 18 days left in the regular season. So much in the West, it remains in flux. So for more, we're joined by ESPN senior writer Ramona Shelburne. You wrote a story that was published on ESPN.com this morning about Karl-Anthony Towns. He's been sidelined since November 28th, but is expected to return tonight. I think a question that a lot of folks have is just, what took so long, frankly?
Yeah, I mean, when he first went down, I think the expectation would just be a couple of months, right? It was a grade 3 calf strain, which is basically a tear, so it's a very serious injury. But about 6 weeks into the recovery process, he essentially retore it. He was in the boot, got out of the boot for 1 week, got back on the court, was doing some jab sets, did a little too much, and just completely retore the calf muscle and right back in the boot. But this time you have to be even more careful when you have a calf injury that serious. He had to get blood drawn out of it. It would pool in his calf. He had a boot on. I mean, it was a really uncomfortable injury. And it's the kind of injury you don't mess around with as a big man, because we all saw what happens when big men like Kevin Durant have a calf injury that could lead to an Achilles injury. But he feels great now.
Okay, so he is on his way back, and the Wolves, they are firmly in the play-in picture. They sit at 9th. What is KAT saying about reintegrating with this team that he's been away with for a while?
I mean, he hasn't been on the bench because of the nature of the injury. You can't sit there at 7 feet tall with your foot in a boot and have the blood pool into your calf, right? So he was in the back watching, but he was taking notes. He's like, I have papers full of notes that I was sharing with Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards. He goes, I am so excited to get going with these two players because my job as the veteran is to make them great. He and Anthony Edwards have gotten much closer this year, and he goes, I can make his life easy. I can make Rudy Gobert's life easy. He goes, Anthony Edwards should be out there. He said, I want to see him be great, reach levels of greatness. I can help him do that. He's so young. I want to make his job as easy as possible. KAT is a willing passer, and I remember talking to him last year. Both of them #1 overall picks. He knows the pressure that goes along with that. He went through that with this organization. He wants to be the vet that he didn't have when he came into the league.
Interesting. I'm taking notes during...
Literally has binders and sitting in Christmas.
I mean, that's what Chene and Zach do when they're not on a segment. They're sitting off to the side taking notes. But the Wolves, the way that the West is laid out right now, they're only a half game behind the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are in a big one tonight against the Golden State Warriors. What are you hearing on the status of Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic for that one?
Luka Doncic has been missed the last 5 games with that thigh injury, but he's going to be back tonight, and he's been very diligent in his rehab. They could have come back maybe a little sooner, but they wanted to make sure he was really back to stay back. That's one of those injuries that you don't want to have a relapse here, but they are they're in such a tight race there. I mean, this is a rematch of the Western Conference Finals last year, but it's basically a game to stay out of the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
The Warriors and the Mavs are right there at 6 and 7, and this game is so important for both of them. And Luka Doncic comes back in this game. The Warriors don't have Andrew Wiggins, don't have Gary Payton Jr., but I heard some good news on Gary Payton Jr. He's been working out. He's had that core muscle injury the whole time, which is essentially just strengthening his core. Like, they want to make sure that core is going to hold up. And they're optimistic that he can come back in the next couple of games.
Oh, that's some good news for Golden State there. It's going to be a big one tonight on ESPN. Ramona Shelburne, thank you so very much. There's just so much left, though, that's going to decide the playoff picture. The standings, they shuffle so much each night. Take a look at how they are right now, because they won't stay that way for long, especially following our ESPN doubleheader tonight. It starts with the Mavs and the Warriors, and then it's followed with the Suns and the Lakers. Kurt Goldsberry, he has more.
The Warriors come into Dallas just 1 game over 500 and clinging to the last guaranteed playoff spot out west. How has this happened?
We're trying to win a road game.
Simply put, this team wins at home and loses on the road.
Welcome to the Warriors road trip.
And the differences are staggering. Everything is golden at home, where the Dubs still look like champs. They are 29 and 7, ranked 5th in net rating and 3rd in defense. But everything falls apart away from the Bay. On the road, the Warriors are 8 and 29, ranked 27th in net rating, and get this, 28th in defense. Last year's title team ranked 4th in road defense. And as for Monday's victory in Houston, it was Golden State's first road win since January.
The 11-game road losing streak is over.
The biggest single difference is their opponent's three-point shooting. The Road Warriors are allowing teams to make over 40% of their threes this year, and those teams are racking up over 43 points per night on triples alone.
kind of sick of it at this point.
The Dubs ranked 29th in both opponent three-point percentage and opponent three-pointers made per game. That's bad.
Find that competitive nature and know it's in there.
This dynasty was built on beating teams from beyond the three-point line. It's now on the ropes because opponents are giving the Splash Brothers a taste of their own medicine.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.